your profession. That is, you want to have the adequate skill required to be called a professional social worker. So once again, you are welcome on board, and I pray and I also wish to see you as among those that will be inducted by November this year. You know, it's very close. So that is why this particular program has to be given the right consideration and the right attention, so that so that in few months' time we become colleagues. Once you are inducted as a member of this noble profession, you are a member and you have become professionally.
Is anybody talking?
Trained. Can you please listen? You just came. You can listen. You will hear from my hand. If you listen, please. So, having said that, I want to meet you one-on-one. We started with I started with 7 members or 7 people on this call. Now this has grown to 17, and this is impressive. But for those of you that came late, next time please just join the link, be on the call as early as possible, so that will not be drawing us back. So essentially, in this course, we are expected to go over this particular course title, Competencies and Quality Service Delivery. Can you hear me?
You can hear me.
Hello. Okay, great.
Yes,
All right, thank you. Can you see my screen?
Yes, sir, we can see your screen.
We are all going.
Yes, sir.
I want to. Yes, thank you. I want to believe you all have this particular material.
Whenever you're going,
yes, sir.
Okay, great. Please, those people, I think those will be latecomers. Those people that refuse to mute their mic, you are disturbing the class, please. Please. Okay, this is what we are to do in a couple of weeks, and it has to do with competencies and quality service delivery. So, sorry, I just have to move some people from this end. Simple instructional people will not listen. In a way that you are disturbing the class. You are disturbing the class, please. Okay. Adesina Oluyomi too. Can you mute your mic? You're disturbing us, please. All right. These people, when we talk about competencies, what does that connote? As a professional, you are coming to social work profession now, and you want to be professionally recognized. Competency, essentially in social work, refer to the essential knowledge, skills, values, and behaviors that social worker should demonstrate to let people see that such a person is professionally qualified to demonstrate effective and ethical practices in any setting, in different settings you are find yourself. That is what we refer to as competencies. What I'm saying essentially refers to the knowledge, skills, values, and behaviors that are expected of you as a professional. Those things that you need to practice effectively. Those things that you need, that people need to see in you to demonstrate that you are truly a professional in that regard. So these values, knowledge, skills are outlined by professional bodies like ours, which is Chartered Institute of Social Work Practitioners of Nigeria. So let's quickly look at the overview. As you can see from my screen, the competencies of social worker professionals, this create a basis for high quality care and services. What we mean here is the fact that if you do not have those competencies I referred to earlier as essential knowledge, skills, values, and behaviors, if you do not have that, which means there is no basis upon which you can practice. There's no basis upon which you can actually deliver quality service to the people. So it is those competencies will form the bedrock upon which we can build whatever you want to build on. For instance, you want to build a house and the foundation is faulty or the foundation is weak. Do you think that particular house or that particular structure can be strong enough or can last for long? It's not possible. If the foundation is weak, if the foundation is not that strong, definitely it will affect all other structures put on the foundation. So that is why this course is very, very important for you to pay attention, to also imbibe whatever we will discuss as regards the competencies. Or of course, we all know when we say someone is not competent, it embraces a lot of things. You have a choice to pick from options around you when you need one particular service or the other. You have different options. Why did you choose to attend a clinic far away from where you live? Why do you take your students and why do you take your children to school far away from where you live? Why don't you prefer the schools that are very close to you? Why? You need to ask, you have done that because you have looked at the competencies of such service providers and you make a choice. You want to go to a place where you can get quality service delivery as a result of that particular place having competent personnel, competent staff, and so on and so on.
It come before you today.
So
today. Thank you, Lord.
maybe we give that person the opportunity to continue to sing. We are not in music class, please. That person with iPhone, can you please identify your name with the phone? Otherwise, that particular person will be thrown out of the class. You need to identify please name your device so that you know you are with us. Infinix and iPhone, please, can you rename your device? Because this is a serious matter, this is a serious class. So if you know you cannot name your device, you can please excuse us of this class. There's no way we can be dealing with somebody behind fail. We need to know you. Infinite, perhaps you are not part of us. Who knows? iPhone, the person with Infinite and iPhone, please check your device and rename. So, sorry for that break. Like I was saying, when you make that choice, you base your choice on the competencies of the service provider to you. You could as well choosing a school very close to your location. But perhaps you have looked at that school, you have looked at the personnel, look at everything in that school. You feel that school cannot give the kind of service you want, the kind of education you want, the kind of training you want for your children. So you decide to take your children outside that location, no matter what it will cost you. So that is why even if you are a professional and you are not competent in that your profession, definitely you cannot deliver good service to the public or to anybody. And as a result, you will lose out. So as a social worker, you need to have some competencies. So those competencies will enable you to spring up. Those competencies will enable you to discharge quality service delivery to the people, to the community, to those that are very close to you and those that are very far from you. And invariably, you are contributing to what? You are contributing to the society good. You are contributing to humanity. You are raising the standard of humanity in one way or the other. So it is essential that you have those competencies. Professional competencies consist of the knowledge, like I told you, skills, attitude, and self-efficacy that professionals need to carry out their work. You need all this to continue to discharge your responsibility as a professional. This also ensures safe and high-quality outcomes for individuals and the population at large. For individual and the population at large, the community at large, and the public at large. Because we're going to get high-quality outcomes. Everybody goes to school. Everybody practices one profession or the other. But the impact or the outcomes of those practices differ, and it gives people opportunity to make choice. It provides options for people to now make their right choice. So, as you know, knowledge consists of information and understanding of the subject area. Before now, you have gone to the university, you have attended so many courses, you have people that may be from we have people here that are from different backgrounds. I'm very sure of that. People that actually have their background, perhaps in sciences, perhaps in some arts, and so on and so forth. So when you have that, the knowledge that you have in those backgrounds, those knowledge, if you did not go to school or if you did not search for such knowledge, you might not have had that knowledge. But the fact that you have the knowledge gives you the authority to talk about or to be a specialist in your subject area. And because of the knowledge you possess, then people will tend to call you names based on that knowledge. So what I mean is, if one is not knowledgeable, there's no way you can say you belong to any profession. So knowledge is important. Knowledge consists of the information and understanding of your subject area. Skills refer to a professional ability to use that knowledge effectively, and they can be motor, cognitive, and social skills. You have the knowledge. Knowledge is more of a cognitive, it's more of cognition. It's in your brain. You have the knowledge. If you cannot translate what you have as a knowledge into practical things outside, people will not know that you have that knowledge. Let me give you an instance. Perhaps you have been taught this is the way you can drive a vehicle. You know the theory. You have it in your head that when you start a vehicle, you start any vehicle, you start from the ignition, you match the brake, you press the accelerator, and so on and so forth. When you want to stop, you press the brake pedal, and so on and so forth. That one, you can describe it to anybody. You can describe it to anyone. But when you are given a vehicle to drive, you know that is practical. You want to demonstrate that knowledge you have, the ability, your ability to drive that car. You have the vehicle, and they give you the key, and you can drive it conveniently without any problem. So, which means you have demonstrated your knowledge. You have translated the knowledge you have as a theory, and through that knowledge, you have that skill to drive. And the skill of driving will enable people to see you that actually you have the knowledge. Attitude, in social work is not just about the knowledge. It's not only about disseminating information. It's not only about you have the knowledge, people can see you with that knowledge. Even if you have high skills, even if you have everything, you are certificated. But when your attitude is bad, when you don't have good attitude, you don't cherish good value, you don't cherish values of the profession or ethics of the profession. Even as a human being, you don't have what we call moral. Everything you have will bounce to zero. People will not give you that regard because you have the knowledge, you are intelligent, you have everything. But when you come to attitude, you score zero. That is why when you get your certificate from the university will say, having found you worthy in knowledge and good character. If your character is somehow, there's no way you can be a good material in the society. You cannot contribute meaningfully to the society, because no matter what you have, no matter the knowledge you possess, you need to affect people positively. People should see some attributes in you, some values in you, some attitude in you that will promote that profession. That is why people say when you have the right attitude, you get to the right attitude. Right attitude will give you that attitude. But when your attitude is bad, you're going to be at the lower end of everything in life. So, attitude refer to professionals' long-term views of the subject, human beings, or practice, because you are not living among animals, you live among people, and you need to relate very well. There must be a good attitude. Then self-efficacy refers to individual perceptions of their ability and capacity to influence actions. Are you self-efficient in what you do? These are important areas that need consideration in this regard. So professional competencies require a certain level of social and emotional intelligence to reflect on what is needed and to apply it in practice, in a purposeful, intentional, and professional manner. No matter what you be, you see, when people talk, they say that person has demonstrated professional competence. At times, apology to any police that may be among us, any policeman or officer that may be among us. When they handle some cases, at times, some of them that are found of misconduct, they will say they have committed a kind of professional misconduct. It may be acceptable in other profession, but in their own profession, it's not acceptable. So any wrong attitude as a social worker can be termed as misconduct, professional misconduct. Anyway, when you read or when you go through the Charter Act, when you go through the acts establishing this noble institute, you will see area where we talk about professional misconduct. In those areas, you understand better what we mean by attitude, what we mean by ethics. That is why ethics is very, very important in this particular program. So, and when we talk about ethics, you are talking about conduct, you are talking about behaviors as professionals. You should also note that as professionals, our service users, those who deliver or those who render services to, they follow the relationship much more than anything. That is why we are talking about social work. It's social. It has to do with relationship. It has to do with dealing with people. Unlike people that would deal with tools, people that would deal with equipment. In this case, we deal with people. And mostly contemporary studies actually embrace contemporary studies embrace social aspect of any knowledge. That is why today we talk about sustainable development goals. The sustainable development goals, that is for the world to be at peace, for the world to develop to our taste, or for our tomorrow to be better than today. Globally, agenda was set in 2015 that by 2030 we expect to have reached this particular stage, and that is the sustainable development goals. 15-year agenda was set, and in that agenda rests on 3 pillars, and the pillars has to do with social, economy, and the environment. And the 3 are interrelated. There's no way you can be economically better or economically buoyant that your social aspect will not be affected, and there's no way you will not affect the environment. That is why people talk about, in this regard, we talk about people, we talk about the planet, and we talk about the economy. So anything that happens in the economy will affect people. If it affects people, people live within the environment, and such will also affect the environment. So the 17 goals are tied to ensure that our social, economic, and environment where we live, the 3 of them, they live in harmony and they interrelate. The 3 of them should collaborate so that long-term well-being of any individual in any part of this globe called Earth, their long-term well-being will be guaranteed. So that is where social worker will have essential roles to play in this, in ensuring that we achieve this agenda by 2030. And an effort to get to this, that is why a number of social workers have been trained, or social workers have been trained so that professionally they can discharge their duties and the society will be better for every one of us. Sorry. This particular program we are holding is seen as the crucial starting point for getting help and support on equal terms, for working with rather than on people. You are working with the people, you are not working on them, because you want to see yourself as being equal. You see one person is not greater than the other. We talk about equality. We're talking about equality, meaning that we are reducing inequalities within us or among us. So that's the essence of having right competencies and being a social worker. You see, our service users talk of relationships. They appreciate relationship that is based on warmth, empathy, reliability, respect, which is the opposite of fulfilling approaches to assessment. This also reduces the contact between service users and practitioners to a formulaic, rigid, and bureaucratic contact. What we are saying is, in social work, the kind of relationship a service provider has with service user is not that linear. It's not that is already rigid. It's not rigid. It's flexible. So in that wise, service user will rely more on our relationship. I'm trying to emphasize the aspect of behaviors here, the aspect of ethics, the aspect of values, the aspect of attitudes that we should wear as professionals. That is why you see, it's not surprising that some service users sometimes talk of social work practitioners as friends. When you are a social worker, you are a friend to your service user. If you are not a friend, which means you are creating more problems in the society. Instead of you solving societal problems, providing solutions to problems, you are also becoming a source of that problem. You know, for any social problem, for any problem that we have, there is always a social implication, a social dimension to that particular problem. So if a social worker is practicing or is professing to be a professional, such a social workers must be friends to his or her service users. Because the informal relationship that we have with our service users is very, 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 very important. What then is social work? What is social work? Can anybody guide us in this class? What is social work? No, what do you understand by social work? Because from your antecedent, from your background or whatever, what do you understand by social work? Maybe I should close the screen. What do you forget about? Just forget about what we have in the material. What do you understand by social work? Anyone? Can anybody help us out?
Social work is a helping profession.
Good. It's a helping profession. That is fine. That is one. So how best can we still describe social work? Thank you, Chinese. Is it Chinese that has just talked?
Binte Charles Darla Erica.
All right, thank you. So
Good morning,
social
sir.
work. Good morning.
Yes, sir. Social work is a helping profession that focuses on improving the well-being of families, society, groups,
Great.
and
Yes,
individuals.
and community. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, how best can we still describe social work? Yes, I want more responses. Yes, please, go ahead.
Social work is a profession that supports vulnerable people.
Good. That supports vulnerable people. Yes. Yes. More. I want more. Oh, unfortunately, that person we cannot hear. Maybe the network. The network is not friendly to you.
Practice-based profession.
Great. Okay. Yes, practice-based profession. Yes.
Can you hear me now?
I can hear you. Please go ahead.
Profession that helps to promote social justice, respect, and dignity.
Okay. Okay. Thank you. I appreciate that. Hello.
Hello, sir.
Hello.
Yes,
please go ahead.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Social work is a practice that helps the vulnerable in the society fight for social justice, make an impact in individuals, and improve communities and lives through the use of different and appropriate therapeutic approach.
Yes. Thank you so much. I appreciate all the contributions, and those contributions have actually so that social work is all embracing. Social work is that behavioral sciences, is that profession that promotes human rights, social justice, peace, conflict resolution, engendering social change, problem solving, sustainable development, human relationship. And it also focuses on empowerment and liberation of people and enhancing the well-being of individual, family, groups, and community, like some people mentioned. Whatever we do that cannot improve the life of individuals, family, groups, and community, you see, that person may not be a social worker. So a social worker will look at how best can we improve the life of an individual. If an individual is okay, it means that the family of group of individuals will be fine. It translates to the fact that communities where they live will be fine. So essentially, social work looks at developing an individual holistically, and it is believed that when an individual is well developed, or such an individual is fine, definitely society where he or she lives will also be a good place to be desired. Please mute your mic, please. So, like I said earlier about sustainable development goals, social work intervenes at the point where people interact with their environment. Don't forget, I said sustainable development goal rests on three pillars: on environment, economy, and people. That is social. Where people interact with their environment, we talk about principles of human rights and social justice. All these are fundamental to social work. All these are fundamental to social work. So look at Nigeria as a nation. You say Nigeria is faced by numerous problems, numerous social problems that the number of social workers that we have in the country is not even adequate to handle social problems that we have in the country at present. The problems are so numerous that if I ask you to be listening there, we will not even leave this place. So in essence, you can see that social work is very, very important, and it's a profession that should be embraced. It's a profession that should be given more recognition, unlike what operates now. So the social work profession is committed to maximizing the well-being of individuals and society. This has been emphasized earlier. We consider that individual and societal well-being is strengthened by socially inclusive communities that emphasize principles of social justice, respect for human dignity, and human rights, including the right to freedom from intimidation and exclusion. So all these, you see, encapsulate what we call social work, because in social work, I beg now. I don't know how long they don't do that. Adesina Oluyomi, please mute your mic. Is it Adesina? Who is that? Yes, Adesina Oluyomi, can you please mute your mic?
Sir, it is George Vivian Amarachi. Her mic is on.
Sorry. George Amarachi, please, can you please mute your mic? Mute your mic, please. You are disturbing us. We are not interested in what goes on. What goes on in your place, please. We are not interested in that. Just allow us to finish this course. George Amarachi.
Yes, I have.
You have not. Okay, you just did now. Thank you. So, like I said, in social work or in social work profession, concentrates on the well-being of individuals and society, because we look at socially inclusive community. When we have socially inclusive community, which means no one is left behind. No one is put aside. We have that everybody in that community, in that society, or in that everybody in that community sees himself or herself as being equal to others. So whatever I have access to, other person also must have that access to that particular facilities or that particular opportunity. That is an inclusive community where no one is left behind. Everybody is seen as belonging to that particular community. In this wise, we are looking at an egalitarian society or egalitarian community where everyone is important. Everybody is very, very vital, and that no one is indispensable in that particular community. So that is an inclusive community. The vulnerables, the poor, the rich, everybody, they have equal access. Perhaps, let's say, to education. They have equal access to good water system, equal access to all other amenities in the society. That is an inclusive society. The disabled, they are not left behind. Or people with special needs, or persons with special needs. They are also incorporated. They are carried along in everything in that community. So we are talking about, that is inclusive community. A community where the rich and the poor, they see themselves as being equal. No one has access, no one has advantage over others. That's an inclusive community. This community emphasizes, inclusive community emphasizes principle of social justice and respect for everybody. You take everybody as they are. You give regard to everyone as they are. So in this case, human dignity, human rights are respected. The right to freedom from intimidation and exclusion. There's no discrimination of any form. Even in rights in the home of some people, they do not practice social justice. They do not practice inclusiveness within their family. So in such a case, discrimination looms. You tend to discriminate between one person and the other. You tend to discriminate between the genders, male and female. And Goal 5 of SDG talks about gender equality. Do you do that in your workplace? Do you do that where you live? Do you do that in your religious worship centers? Do you do that in your communities? Do you give right to everybody? Do you respect that social justice? Do you give freedom to everybody as it is required to be given? So these are areas social workers need to work on very well. And if you continue to talk about social justice, equality, inequalities, and so on and so forth, these are areas, these are different subject areas that require some other further explanation and discussion. Why social work? Why social work? Of course, we have a number of problems. We have myriads of problems in the country, not only in Nigeria, across Africa, across the globe. Are countries equal? Are countries being treated equally? Is there no inequality between one nation and the other? There is what we call the global north and the global south. Look at the disparity between the global north and the global south. The so-called developed economies and the least income countries like Nigeria, most countries in Africa. Is there no inequality? Although we have inequalities written all over in some of our society, even within a particular country, like Nigeria, for instance. The elites and the non-elites, are there no inequalities between the two groups? Those people living in the rural and those living in the urban areas, do they have the same access to opportunities, to facilities, to infrastructures, and so on and so forth? Those of low incomes and those that belong to the high income groups, do they enjoy life the same way? Do they have all these are problems that actually require social work intervention. So that this answer why social work. So life means we need to face demands of day-to-day life and realize the self. So all this actually calls for social work. In school, we have demands, we have challenges, we have different tasks. Even while growing up in the family, that is why we have family social work, school social work, and so on and so forth, community social work, medical social work, and so on and so forth. Even while raising your family, even while you are at work, industrial social work, and so on and so forth. So when you have all this, people live in these settings and they bound to face different kinds of challenges and problems in life. And this demand that we solve those problems. So people are dependent on social systems that realize their aspirations and to cope with their life task. You want to cope with your life task. There's no individual, there's no that person in life that will not face one task or the other, or one challenge or the other, or having one problem or the other. And there's need to solve such a problem. Problems relating to marital issues, that is matrimonial. Problem relating to living within the community. Problems of not having right facilities to live within that particular community. Problems of not having access to right education. Even when you have the right, you have the access to that education, can you sustain that access? The economic power the economic power. If the economic power is not that strong today, can you still sustain taking your children to schools that you have to pay high? Because the economic power of every person has been reduced by some social pressures. So in order to realize our life's task, people have to interact with three kinds of resource systems in the social environment. We talk about informal or natural resource system, which consists of family, friends, neighbors, co-workers. We also talk about formal resource system consisting of membership in organization, trade union, and so on and so forth, or other socio-cultural organizations that you belong to. We talk about social resource systems such as schools, hospitals, housing society, police, bank, and etc. So these are resource systems that are recognized in the social environment. Purpose of social work. Okay, let me quickly take that. Purpose of social work profession is to promote human and community well-being. You know, we said that the other time. That's the essence of social work. We want to promote human and community well-being. When an individual living within the community is well, definitely that community will be healthy. That community will be healthy. And this is guided by a person and environment construct, a global perspective, respect for human diversity, and knowledge based on scientific inquiry. Social work in its various forms addresses the multiple complex transactions between people and their environment. We know we talked about that interaction the other time when I was actually referring to Sustainable Development Goals, that is the SDG. Its mission is to enable all people to develop their full potentials. We want everybody living within a particular community or society to develop their full potentials, to enrich their lives, and prevent dysfunction. We want everybody to function effectively within the society. That is when the society is good, when the well-being of the society is guaranteed or is promoted. So we want everyone to develop to their full potentials. We want to enrich their lives. Already you are good. You want to be better. When you are better, you want to go to the best. Social work purpose is realized through its pursuit for social and economic justice. You know, there's no way you can live social and economic justice out of social work. You want to prevent conditions that limit human rights. Give everybody freedom to express their rights. You don't limit their rights. The elimination of poverty and the enhancement of the quality of life for all persons. Enhancement of the quality of life for all persons with the commitment to respect the dignity and worth of all people, everybody in the community, leaving no one behind. You want to respect their dignity. You want to respect the dignity and worth of everybody in the community, in as much as you are a person. And the professional's pursuit of social justice. All these are bases for social work. These are functions that social work are meant, the social work is meant to perform, so that the society, the well-being of the society will be guaranteed and as well, it will be promoted and community will be better for it. I want to quickly take, let me quickly take the qualities. Let me quickly take the duty of social workers in brief, and I will allow you, and up to why a social work competency is important. Then I will allow you to make your contribution, and we can end the class for today. So what are the duties of social workers? We've been saying it indirectly since we began. And as social workers, you are expected to defend and uphold physical, psychological, emotional, and spiritual integrity and well-being of all persons. You know, this has been said in different ways when we started. One, specific duties of social workers, but this is not exhaustive. You can also add to it. Respecting the right to self-determination, which means everybody has a potential. You should respect that right of an individual that can determine where he or she wants to go. That is why everyone cannot be in the same profession. Everyone cannot live in the same place. Everyone cannot, two people are not the same. Everyone is unique in his ability, in his potential, and whatever skill he desires to have. So social workers will respect and promote people's right to make their own choices and decisions, irrespective of their values and life choices, provided this does not threaten the right and legitimate interests of others. As a social worker, you should respect the right of everybody to make their own choices and decisions. You don't stand on your service users to follow your own opinion. No, you don't do that. What you do is you guide your service user to make his or her own choices. You only guide. You cannot actually put your own idea, mandate him or her to use your own idea or to follow your own direction. No, that is an important duty of a social worker. You respect the rights of an individual to make their own choices and decisions. And you should, in as much as that does not threaten the right of others. It does not affect the right of others. You know, there's no way you want to exercise your own rights, and you are using that to trample upon other person's rights. No, that one will not be. The law will not allow that. So, as a social worker, you should look out for that and avoid such. Again, promoting the right to participation. You allow your service user. You should allow him or her to also participate in any area he or she face. In this case, social workers should promote the full involvement and participation of people using their services in ways that enable them to be empowered in all aspects of this. What we are saying is that as a social worker, you cannot be the dictator. Allow them to participate in what affects them. And that is the essence of development these days. We talk about participation. You talk about participation. Many interventions today, if community participation or service user participation is not entrenched, such an intervention will fail and will not even be accepted as a standard intervention. So what we are saying is that the participation of the service user, the participation of somebody you want to help is very, very germane, is important in whatever you do. Treating each person as a whole. You don't just treat an aspect of a problem. An individual, let's take matrimonial issue for instance, involving a couple. And the wife is the one that has brought an issue to your table as a social worker. And you want to solve that particular matrimonial problem. You know, you cannot just single out that problem and solve. You look at the person holistically and try to address a problem. Perhaps maybe economically, the woman is not okay. Perhaps talking about our earth is not all that sand. You need to, how best can you assist that individual? Because if you solve a problem, you leave others, definitely that problem will come back. So what you need to do is just to treat that individual as a whole. That is one aspect. The other aspect is you cannot solve our problem without making recourse to the husband or making even recourse to other members of our immediate family or extended family. So in that case, you at times you need to look at the community where that person lives. You need to look at the setting where he or she or where that woman operates. So all this, you have to take them together. That is when you have solved that person's problem. Otherwise, the problem will bounce back. Identifying and developing strengths. Social workers will focus on the strength of all individuals. You should not focus on the weaknesses of your service user. You focus on strengths. What are those strengths that are there in that individual that you can make use of, that you can leverage on, so that that individual can be a better person that you desire as a social worker? In this case, you look at the strength of individual, you focus on strength of individual groups and communities, and you can then promote their empowerment. You can promote their empowerment. You don't emphasize weaknesses. Some people always emphasize negatives. Nigeria as a country, as people give Nigeria different names, or Nigerians as being criminal outside the country and so on and so forth, there are Nigerians that are doing very, very well outside the soil of the country. Even within the country, as we talk about corrupt people, corrupt politicians, corrupt public servants, and so on and so forth, are we saying we do not have those that are not corrupt, those that are good? In the police, in all the paramilitary, or in all the uniform agencies that we have in the country, are we saying we don't have good ones among them? They cannot all be bad apples. We have good apples among them. So these are things you need to identify, and you develop that particular strength. You, as a social worker, you also challenge negative discrimination. Of course, one of the functions of social work is, or primary purpose of social work is to promote social justice, so that no one is discriminated against. So as a social worker, you have to challenge any negative discrimination you observe in your society, or in where you are, or in your community. You have that responsibility to challenge that negative discrimination on the basis of characteristics such as ability. People discriminate on ability. This one is able, this one is not able. On the basis of age, on the basis of culture, gender, or sex, or religion, marital status, socioeconomic status, political opinion, skin color, racial or other physical characteristics, sexual orientation, or spiritual beliefs. That is religion. On culture, people discriminate. On the basis of the color of your skin, people discriminate. You are from North, this one is from East. Why must we discriminate? As a social worker, you should not promote discrimination in any form. If you are Yoruba, one person is Igbo, the other one is Hausa, you see yourself, one common denominator among the three people is what? It's because you are a woman. Before you know that you belong to this particular ethnic group, you are born as a woman being, just like any other person is born as a woman being in Côte d'Ivoire, just like any other person is born as a woman being in South Africa, even in China or Thailand or in Japan, and so on and so forth. When you came to this life, you came to this life as a woman being. It was after some time, when you grow up, that you know that you belong to this father, you belong to this mother, you belong to this family, you belong to this community. Forget about that discrimination. As a social worker, you should not be among those that will be promoting discrimination in any form. That is why some people, they clamor that they are being marginalized. As a social worker, when you are in that position, you should not be the promoter of that marginalization. When you do that, which means you are not a good social, you are not a professional social worker. Maybe you are in a position, even on your desk, your present desk, do you discriminate on that desk? If you discriminate on that desk, you are not a professional. You may call yourself social worker, but you are not a professional. You are not a professional because that competence has left you, or you move away from that competence. So right on your table, you should demonstrate that you are a professional. Because you are on a table, you have an advantage, you have an opportunity to serve on a particular table or on your desk, and you are depriving people of their rights. Are you a social worker? No. You should ask yourself, wherever you serve, there's no place where you are that you cannot demonstrate that you are a professional. So if you are there and you cannot challenge negative discrimination of any form, do you discriminate among your staff? Do you discriminate among your friends? Do you discriminate within your family, in your profession, in your place of work? Do you discriminate? Even in your places of worship, do you discriminate? Do you give some people right above others? These are questions you should ask. If you are a social worker and you do that, please examine yourself very well and review your activities so that society can be better from your end. If I can take precaution from my own end, you should also take precaution from your own end, so that that change that we are looking for begins with you. If it begins with me and it begins with you, at a point we'll come together and a better society will be formed. So recognizing diversity, don't let me dwell more on that, so that we'll go and move on. Recognizing diversity. Social workers should recognize and respect the ethnic and cultural diversity of the society in which they practice, taking account of individual, family, group, and community differences. Do you do this? You recognize diversity. You should give respect to everybody born as human, and also respect their diversity. People from the north, majorly they are Muslims, and it happens that you practice in that environment. You should respect their religion. You don't talk loosely about their religion. If you do that, it will affect your profession, it will affect your practice. And as a professional, you should not be fun to do that. So you should give recognition to diversity that has been made or that has been given to people as a people. People from the rivers, people from Sokoto, people from Borno, every one of us. You should respect the diversity that we have. Perhaps in our language, diversity we have in our color, diversity we have in our way of doing things, the diversity we have in our practices, in the environment, in their laws. Recognizing that diversity gives government the opportunity to respect Sharia court in the north, even to give recognition to Sharia court in the north, while in the south, there's no Sharia court. We have customary court and so on in the south here, but when you get to from Kwara and up there, you will talk about what's the name of you talk about penal code here and the other Sharia something in the north, because of recognition of the diversity that we have as a country. So as a social worker, you should respect this. Distributing resources equitably. Don't say because you are in a position, you want to give resources to your own kinsmen than others. If you do that, you are not a good professional. Ensure that any resources or any of the resources that are within your jurisdiction that you have authority over, ensure that these are distributed equitably. Equitably. Give to Caesar what is due to Caesar, and give to others what is due to them. So social workers will ensure that resources at their disposal are distributed fairly according to need, and ensure service users are linked to resources. When we talk about equitable distribution of resources, resources Resources is one of the major point of a source of conflict. Even at home, when you have money, you want to spend the income that comes to the family. Distributing that income may even be source of conflict within the family circle. If that income is not equitably distributed, maybe among the children, including the spouse, you may have a crisis from that end. As a social worker, you should ensure that everything you do is equitably respected. We are not talking about equality here. In equality, you want to see what you give to A, you give to B. No, that is not. We are talking about equity. Equity means you give what is due to person. Maybe as a facilitator of this course, there are certain things I'm entitled to. As participants in this course, there are certain things you are to enjoy, you are entitled to. I should give those entitlements to you as due to you. But you cannot get the same entitlement as I will get. Because as a facilitator, there are certain things that I'm entitled to that may not be due for you. So in this case, that is equity. You give to person what is due to that particular person. Challenging unjust policies and practices. There are practices that are unjust. There are practices that are very, very unjust in the country. You want to challenge it. You challenge it reasonably. Social workers have a duty to bring to the attention of their employers, policymakers, politicians, and general public citizens where the use of resources, policy, and practice are oppressive, unfair, or harmful. There are some harmful practices. How do we challenge those harmful practices? When resources are not equitably distributed, how do you challenge them? You challenge them through the right channel, not joining the protest, not joining, we no go agree, we no go agree. No. We are saying that you should challenge it appropriately. Tread the right path, the right channel to challenge those policies. Call the attention of government, call the attention of employers to unjust policies. There are some policies that are not just. There are policies that are unfair, oppressive, and also harmful. When you notice that, call the attention of the formulator of that particular policies or those that are bringing out those practices. We should also work in solidarity. In social work, we don't work in silos. You work in solidarity, you work in collaboration with others. You may be knowledgeable well, you may have skill in one aspect of social work, in the other aspect you may not have skill. Like I give the example of a crisis, of a family crisis, maybe between within a couple, between a husband and a wife, and the wife has come to you to bear mind to you on what she is passing through. And you have discovered that that particular wife needs empowerment, economic empowerment, and you cannot provide that. You link her with another service provider that can give her counseling or that can provide that empowerment for her. In that case, you have referred her to that particular place and her problem will be solved. If it is related to health, you link her up with health facility where a problem can be diagnosed and treated, and so on and so that. So in that case, you can see that we are working as a team. You bring in professionals especially from other areas that can ensure that your service provider live a better life. That is why we don't work in silos in social work. Where are social work competencies important? I think you can read this one up. And let me quickly run through. Social work competencies are important because all we have been talking about, why do we need competencies? Where do we need competencies in social work? Even without reading this, you should be able to answer that questions. They support with ethical decision making, helps promote excellent practice. When you have right competencies, you tend to give us good quality service. You give out quality service and your practice becomes excellent. It enables us to show professional commitment because you should know that you must be committed to your profession. You must be committed to certain duties that you are bound to discharge. It helps us take responsibility for our conduct and our practice, because professional conduct, you take responsibility for it. When there is any misconduct, you also take responsibility for it. When you read through the act, you will see conduct of professional or members of the institute. When there is any misconduct, there are procedures for penalties for such an individual. If you commit any offense, there are procedures. So you take responsibility for any conduct that you discharge. It helps evidence our knowledge, that you possess this knowledge. When you practice and you practice effectively, you display competencies in your practice. So which means you are showing people that you possess that knowledge of that knowledge of that profession. It helps us to maintain a positive attitude. You don't take skill separately. You combine skill, you combine knowledge, you combine behavior with all this, and you want to reach high altitude. It also enables us to take charge of our professional development. You continue to develop every day. There is what we call compulsory professional development for all members, and this we do every year. And what you are going through too is also a professional development part that will take you, that will give you, that will add to your knowledge and will also improve your service delivery. Support with new learning skills. You want to learn some skills. When you are competent, you attend conferences and you acquire new skills and knowledge. It helps us understand our role as social workers, as explained earlier. It also enables us to establish and maintain the trust and confidence of clients or service users. You want to, when you profess competently, your service user will develop a kind of trust in you, will establish a trust and will maintain that trust, and will also have confidence in your ability, because they will have seen that you are competent. So, ladies and gentlemen, at this point, I want to stop this facilitator now, so that if you have questions, you have contribution, you can make it in the next 5 minutes, and we'll call the class. We bring the class to an end. Thank you so much. So if you have questions, you have the opportunity to ask your questions. So you can raise your electronic hand so that I can identify you, and we'll move on from there. Thank you so much for listening. Yes, I'm listening. Stephen, you are disturbing us. So Stephen, you are disturbing us. Stephen, can you mute your mic, Stephen? Stephen, you are disturbing us. Can you mute your mic? Okay, I'm listening for your questions. You have questions, please. Yes, questions, comments, contributions. Yes, I want your contribution questions.
Hello, sir.
Hello, please go ahead.
Yeah, this should be sir, you were talking about the purpose of social workers. And I want to say I thought empathy is one of the principles of social work.
Yes.
Is it also part of the purpose of social work, sir?
No, it's one. Empathy is one of the principles that should be taken seriously by the social workers. But that is not the main purpose. The main purpose, when you show empathy, it means that you identify very well with your service user or your client. And when you do that, that one is exhibited when you are looking for a way of improving the life of that particular social worker, and you are looking for a way of building trust. Most essentially, empathy is usually useful when you are talking about communication, effective communication between social worker and your service users. So it's just part of what we do. Do you understand it that way?
Okay. Okay, yes, sir. Thank you, sir.
Okay, because when we talk about purpose, we're looking at the overall objective of social work. So we cannot just take out empathy. We make use of empathy mostly in when you have when you're talking about effective communication between the social worker and the client, or the social worker and the service users. When we have that, then you can show empathy. When you show empathy, your social worker will believe much more in you, will believe in what you do, will develop that trust, and will rely on whatever guidance you want to give to him or her. But when you do not show any empathy, you are sending away your service users. Thank you. Yes, Ijoma. Ijoma. Ijoma, I can see your hand.
Yes, sir.
Speak. Okay, please go ahead.
So please, you talk about the charges for any injustice around your area. Please, if you find out any injustice around your area as a social worker, how can you fight for the injustice for the person that have been facing the injustice? How can you fight for that person?
Yes, it's very simple. As a social worker, I said you cannot do things alone. What you do is you ensure that you follow right channel to challenge this particular injustice. If it is in your society, for instance, if somebody is actually engaging in, let's say, child trafficking,
Yes,
trafficking, that child's right is being trampled upon. So you can appropriately report that particular person to relevant agencies. The agencies handling this is either you go to the social welfare department of either Ministry of Social Welfare or Ministry of Women Affairs, and so on, to lodge that complaint. So they know the right channel to take to ensure that is not done in that community. Or you can even contact the law enforcement agents or the unit. There is always a relevant unit, perhaps in some law enforcement agencies, where you can just lodge that complaint, because you cannot, as an individual, just challenge that person. No, you have to go through the appropriate channel. There are some states that have laws in respect of some of these injustices or some of these social problems that we have in our society. There are some states that have actually enacted some laws. For instance, in some states, we have what we call child rights law.
Yes, sir.
If it is gender-based violence, let's take gender-based violence as an instance, as an example. That gender-based violence in some states, they have this verb law taken from verb that is Violence Against Person Prohibition Act or Prohibition Law in some states. So with this law, when you read the law, you will see where the law empowers social workers. If you are not empowered to take any action, what you can do is expressly stated in that law, you can report those you can report to and those who can take action. So with this instrument, you can actually address that injustice that you have identified. Thank you.
Sir. Thank you.
Yes, I can see Victoria.
Yes, sir. Good morning. Good afternoon, sir. Yes.
You're welcome.
Yes. Please, like in my area, I had a problem in the community with some people. somebody reported to me about a child abused by the father. And I'm getting down there to attend to the issue because they came looking for me. And getting down there to attend to the issue, I was mobbed. I think the father organized some people to come and mop me up. So in that case, I tried to contact the police nearby, and I was told to go get a letter, and that takes a prolonged issue. So in that case, I refused to go back there because I need to go back with enforcement agency. So what do I do? Like I reported to the police. The police refused to take action. So the little child, I now had to call somebody to take the little child to the hospital while I put down the report in the station. And up to today, it did not done anything. So I found out that I was not able to discharge my duty. So what should I do work? Because it's still pending.
Thank you. I wouldn't know. Yes, I wouldn't know whether you work with the ministry. Are you a social welfare officer?
Yes, I'm a social welfare officer in the local government.
In the local government.
And, so I work with the community.
Do you have relationship with your state ministry in charge of social welfare?
Yes, please.
I wouldn't know whether you make that report formally to the state ministry. So if you didn't do that, you need to make formal report to the state ministry so that the state ministry can take it up. Because I know the state ministry will never allow that to just go unpunished. They will want to prosecute. I know if these days, I'm sorry, those how do I call them? These security agents, sometimes they compromise. Sometimes they do compromise. They do compromise. Apology to anybody that may be related to them or in that particular profession. They may be compromised. But when you make a formal report, let the local government have the formal report, and that can be taken to the state. And you make that, when you make the formal report, I know the state will take action. And if you know that they are not taking action, you can also take it to the commissioner in charge. I know the commissioner will want to act on that. And if you are not satisfied with what they do, you can also take your report to I know the office of the First Lady will be interested in such cases. If they are not interested, and if it is about child abuse or child trafficking, if it is child trafficking, if you have NAPTIs in your state, you can take the matter. You can just escalate the report, escalate that matter to those agencies that you know will not be compromised in any way. That is the way I think you should go about it. And because you are working for the government, and what you do, you have acted the way you have acted in the name of your local government. You cannot do anything without taking approval, taking permission from your superior or from the chairman of that local government. If you carry them along properly, from there, you can reach any level. If the Ministry of Social Welfare refuses to take action, you can escalate it to the House of Assembly. In as much as it is formal, I know they will do something. If you don't have that confidence in the police.
Thank you.
That's my little contribution to that. I wouldn't know if that will actually, if we in any way assist you to get over that particular issue.
Thank you.
All right, you are welcome. So, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you for your time. In the absence of any question, any further comments, we can draw the curtain at this point until another time when we'll have the opportunity of meeting again. I want to thank you most sincerely for your time, and we'll be glad to see you all in the next class. Thank you, and bye-bye.
Thank you, sir.